Welcome to episode 7 of One Question, where we explore the elephant in the room connected with the work we bring to the world. These are conversations about the misperceptions people have with our work, sometimes from the conversations we have in our own head, what we've been taught, or societal norms. I'm your host, Stephanie McAuliffe, a trauma-informed business and life strategist and founder of The Way of the Diamond Warrior. I guide leaders to build a business that's a reflection of their soul. Today, we're joined by Louise Neil, a co-author of Confident You, The Raw Conversations. Louise works at the intersection of midlife transition, work, and well-being, helping people and workplaces make sense of what's happening during the menopause transition so that agency and direction can return. She helps women navigate their midlife career and life pivot. Welcome, Louise.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
It's great to be here with you today. So, Louise, tell us more about the work you do and what is that elephant in the room, the misperception you want to take a bite out of today regarding this important work you bring to the world.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's a whole herd of elephants stuffed into a room, but absolutely. So the work that I do is talking about something that we don't normally talk about, especially in workplaces. Perimenopause and menopause has a taboo, stickiness to it that we've kept private for a really, really long time. It's felt like, and we've held it like a personal women's reproductive health issue. And it's just not. But I help women kind of come to terms with what's going on in midlife transitions. And then I help workplaces start to talk about it and start to become more menopause inclusive. And it all stems from my own journey and my own experience. I stepped out of the workplace about 8 years ago now. I had a corporate life and a corporate career, and I found myself on pretty wobbly ground. And I didn't know what was happening. So I went on a journey to, find myself, come back to myself a little bit. And then I started my coaching business to help women do the same thing. Because when we hit midlife, sometimes we're not in the right place doing the right thing and finding our way back to ourselves. But perimenopause throws a whole wrench into that process too. So bringing that into the conversation and helping women understand what's happening because we don't know what's going on until we've been in it and mucking around in it and wanting something different. And I want women who are leaders who want to be growing, who are in the prime of their careers, to be in workplaces that can support that have that ability to recognize what's happening and to keep women in the workforce if that's where they choose to be.
So, what is that big misperception, the elephant you want to take a bite out of, that we think is happening, but really there's a different twist to this journey that so many women are on?
Well, I think the elephant in the room is really that perimenopause or menopause like manifests itself into these physical symptoms, right? There's hot flashes, there's right, like there's things that go on physically with our bodies, and that's it, right? Like so, if we were only more resilient, if we only knew, if women only knew how to handle these physical symptoms, then everything would be fine. And it wouldn't impact our careers or it shouldn't impact our careers. And that's just not the case. There's this whole space, this whole area around perimenopause and menopause that are actually invisible symptoms that actually don't manifest themselves into things that we see. So things like heightened anxiety, um, terrible sleep, stress, panic attacks, like and brain fog that these all impact our confidence. Like even our confidence itself is impacted by our hormone fluctuation. So when you put all of these things together, like it really starts to like hit the core of who we are and our identity. And I think workplaces for a really long time have built systems around that doesn't matter, right? That all of those things don't exist. And I just don't think that's true. Workplaces have a responsibility, I believe, to create systems where they are more supportive. If you want to keep women in the workplace, there are systems to be put in place to help navigate those things. But these invisible things we just don't talk about. We don't know them as women, or our support teams don't know them, like our healthcare practitioners, our partners, our children, all of those people who support us through this. And our workplaces don't know about it either. And I just think that perimenopause and menopause just gets this really bad rap around like the physicality of what it is, and that we should just like figure it out, right? We should just be resilient.
Yeah, and there are so many layers to this because, well, first of all, I was in perimenopause at the end of my career on Wall Street. And so the night sweats and the stress and the sleepless nights, and Wall Street was stressful to begin with anyway.
Sure.
And yet I had to educate myself, my doctors, my husband at the time. It was like I had this responsibility of all these changes happening internally and externally in my life. And it was still upon me that I held the responsibility to make sure everyone and everything around me was okay. And what I found fascinating is that was also the beginning of me saying, you know what? Talk to the hand. I'm not going to carry this responsibility for you anymore. So it was the changes did come from the inside out. And it was it was really empowering because it wasn't that I didn't give a rat's ass anymore. I did. And yet I saw the things that I had been tolerating and carrying that weren't mine. So it was also a time I found of shedding. And do you see that a lot in the women you work with?
Well, absolutely. Because you're right. Like, there's this huge load that we carry, this burden that we carry. It's not just that our bodies are updating and everything's right, trying to figure out a new normal. It's that we have to research it ourselves. We have to educate our doctors ourselves. We have to figure out like all of these things, right? Like, for myself, it was where's the bathroom in every store that I went into, right?
Mm-hmm.
In every meeting that I was in, I was super aware of like, when do I need the washroom? Where is the washroom? All of these things. That's a cognitive load that gets put on us. From the spaces that we're in, from the society that we're in. And I do believe part of that updating that we go through is a little bit of like, well, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with the caregiving stage of my life. And I do need to shed that. I do need to start to look after myself differently, and care for myself first. And that's that. I think that's a big transition that we go through as well. And it's like everything happens at the same time, right?
It does.
Like, yeah, all of that. We're updating our identity, where our bodies are updating. We're updating a sense of like who we are in the world, who we are in relationship with our kids, with our partners. All of those things seem to happen at the same time.
It's bringing to mind the term crone, and it's in many ways been used as a negative. But I think this is when we as women get to really stand in our power. We have all this wisdom that we get to share. But there's a question that came to me of, do you think it's really brain fog, or is it the cognitive load that we're carrying and that there's so much that actually temporarily interferes with all the things that we need to concentrate on?
Yeah, and there's some that we're starting to see some really cool research come out around how culture impacts our own perimenopause journey. And
Mm.
so we see in cultures that treat and revere women differently than our North American culture, women experience less perimenopause symptoms. Women experience a shorter duration of the chaos that our bodies can go through. And so it's really interesting that you say that because there is this like the energy that we take from our environment around us, we embody that.
Hmm.
And it starts to manifest that. Yeah, if we didn't have this cognitive load of right trying to prove ourselves or trying to fit into a system that isn't designed to handle this transition, like what if? What could that be?
Yeah,
And how much sooner could we actually transition to the other side of this? Because this is a transition. That's the thing,
it is a
right? This is
transition.
yeah, and we come out the other side, more brilliant, more beautiful, more ourselves than we probably ever have in our entire lives.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Menopause is a moment in time. It's that 1 year mark, and then we're done. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean we're still not going through bodily changes. There's something interesting I just read recently that a lot of Native American Indians, the women, did not experience long perimenopause
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
exactly what you just talked about. So I love that the science is finally catching up, and hopefully women in North America, it's a real great and big opportunity to say, I'm not going to carry all of these things I did, including the energy, because as a healer, I know that we're absorbing energy from the time even before we're born. And it's really important to know how to clear and protect our energy. And yet when we still take on the societal expectation of carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. It manifests, I think, in deeper, longer held symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see that. And I really think that the science is actually showing us that that's the case. And so it's not just about changing our perception and changing like what we're willing to carry as women, right? Like what are we willing to hang on to and let go of? But
Mm-hmm.
it's also like what's that external environment? What are they hanging on to? What are they willing to let go of? And that's about the perception of elderhood, of the crone,
Yeah.
of the head, of all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it makes me think of Baba Yaga and this wisdom that is held that we get to tap into when we choose to.
Yeah.
And it's always a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a big part. That's a big part of it.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our conversation, are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our readers, our listeners?
It could be our readers too.
Well, exactly, because we do have the book. Yes. And I'm
Absolutely.
looking at confident
Yeah.
you over your right shoulder.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
There we are. There we are, Stephanie.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I love these conversations because I hope that it plants a seed for the listeners and the readers to say, like, so what if it was different? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's curiosity, I think, that is the fertilizer for all of these seeds and for all of these questions that you're asking. Is what other questions can we be asking,
Mm-hmm.
and how do we grow together?
Yeah, and I love the what if question because it
Hmm.
allows us to play. We don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so for our listeners, you have a gift of the Pivot with Purpose Workbook that is a personal roadmap. And it's not just another guide, it's a tool to help listeners turn life's changes into opportunities, moving forward with a sense of purpose that's aligned with who you are today. And I love that. And the link to that will be in the notes below. available to anyone who would like to jump into that, or you might know a woman in your life who this would resonate with.
Thank you.
Yeah. Louise, thank you so much for today's conversation and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Stephanie.